that the labor movement in Texas and the labor movement around this country is united around the fight that these folks have taken on to safeguard our democracy and to safeguard the ability of working people to have a voice in our politics. We didn't start this fight, but we're not walking away from it. And nobody is fleeing anything. What's happening is these people behind me have stood up for democracy, and they've stood up for working class people, not just in Texas, but all over this country. And the nerve that they have struck has resonated in a way that few issues have resonated in this country. This weekend there will be demonstrations in over 130 cities where people have been inspired by the action that you have taken to say that we want fair math. What we really want is to stop giving tax breaks to billionaires while they strip our health care and they get rid of our ability to collectively bargain on the job. That's what this is about. This is not about Democrats versus Republicans. You talk about it like that, people have no idea what we're talking about and they don't really care. What this is about is a president who engaged in the largest transfer of wealth from working class people to billionaires in the history of this country, being able to continue to carry out a billionaire's agenda at our expense. What this is about is a president who has stripped collective bargaining from over 1 million federal workers with one stroke of his pen and wants to avoid accountability for it. What this is about is Texas is a place that trails the nation in the number of people that have access to health care, and they're trying to make it to where that's the way things will always be. So we're here to say loudly and clearly to each and every one of you, thank you. The labor movement stands with you. The labor movement is inspired by you, and the labor movement across this country will fight with you till we make sure that our battles are won. So with that, I'd like to introduce the House Democratic Chair from Texas, Gene Wu. Gene, thank you so much. Come on up.
Thank you so much. We're here to thank labor, not just for being a partner in this fight, but helping lead this fight. And Rick is exactly right. This is not about us. This is not about maintaining power for Democrats, about pushing Republicans back. At the end of the day, this is about whether our communities get to ask for the things that they want and that they need. Because for the past 50 years, piece by piece, everything that made America great has been stripped out and sold to the lowest bidder. And when we wake up today, we're looking around our lives, people all over this country are watching the things around them fall apart. All of our good jobs are gone. And even if you can get a job, it may not be enough to cover your food. And even if you can afford food, you may not be able to afford rent. And even if you can afford rent, you can't buy a house. You can't start a family. You can't do all the things that we had promised in the American dream. That process started by depowering labor, by stripping power from unions. Let's not forget that. What we're fighting for today, why we've been working so hard every single day, is because we, like the rest of Americans, are tired of it. We've had enough. And it's not just about D versus R. It's about whether the American people get to live the American dream. Let me be absolutely frank about this. This is just one battle in this war. And it is to everyone's surprise that this is the battle that Democrats and labor is going to win. Yes, that's right. From the very beginning, Republicans and their allies laughed at us, mocked us, poked at us every day. And they told us, you're not going to be able to stop this. You're not going to be able to maintain a quorum break. You're not going to be able to do it. You won't even get out of the state. And once we were out, they're like, well, you'll break in 2 days. They threw everything they had at us. They levied fines that are more than many of us make in a week. $500 a day. They've levied restrictions. They've tried to threaten our staff. They've threatened our office budgets. They've threatened to take away our positions. They've called the FBI on us. They called in bomb threats on us. They tried to threaten us with expulsion. They filed frivolous garbage lawsuit after garbage lawsuit in Texas, in California, in Illinois, in New York. All of those are being laughed out of court. And that shows you their increasing desperation to do anything that they can to silence what we're doing now, because we are helping wake up Americans. And to tell Americans, you don't have to take this anymore. If you have had enough, come join us. Come join the Democrats who are here. Come join labor. Let's take this country back together. And I will say this as the last thing. You know when America was great? When labor was strong.
That's right.
Up next is Elsa Flores.
Buenos días, good morning to everybody. My name is Elsa Flores. I'm the president of SEIU Texas, and I am truly, truly honored to be here in the picket line with our friends from the Democratic Party. I am here with a lot of our other SEIU family from Chicago. You'll meet some of them today. But we're here because we wanted to make sure that you guys felt our support, that you understand what this really means, not just for labor, but for our communities. You are standing up to the MAGA movement to strip away our basic rights to have a voice as communities of color, as communities of immigrants, and communities who have worked tirelessly to make sure that they can actually get themselves out to vote. This is not the first time that this is done, just so we know. History tells us that they have tried to do this before. This is something that they talked about before the president got into power. This is what they actually campaigned on, being able to have this type of power, being able to take away the voices the voices and the power that the people had, right? And now that they see that the tide is turning, now that they see that people are waking up and understanding what it means to make America great again to them, they decided that they needed to move their agenda quicker. And they're being blatant about it. You have a president who on the record is saying, I need 5 more people to come out of Texas, 5 more. He said something similar when he lost the last election, we know that. But he's blatantly saying it. What does that mean? That means that they are scared. They're running scared. And I am so proud of this team here because the bullying tactics that they're using is not working. Texans are standing up. These folks are standing up. Our community is waking up. Because what I know, that our members, whether they're in Dallas, whether they're in El Paso, Corpus Christi, Houston, our SEIU members are saying, oh, this is the right thing. And yes, sign me up. I'm going to the next fight. And I'm signing up to make sure that I can vote the next time around because we are going to remember. They want 5 more seats. I don't think that they should count that those 5 seats are going to be for them. Yeah. They should not count that in because we are ready to fight. We are ready to take those seats and make sure that our people are going to be able to have a seat at the table. Yes. We fought too hard to make sure that our folks have a seat at the table, and we're not going to give them up that easy. Yes. We want to make sure our folks have health care. We want to make sure that the state focuses on what's important. We just got out of a tremendous flood in Texas, and it's not the first one. This should not be the thing that our representatives are focusing on. They should be trying to take care of our communities. But what we know is that they are focusing on their own personal agenda and not on the people's agenda. So I am committed to make sure that our folks are going to remember. Election day, we are going to remember what is important to us and who's standing with us on that. And I will say this in Spanish because as an immigrant, I think it's important. Mi nombre es Elsa Flores, soy la presidenta de SEIU en Texas. Tenemos muchos miembros que son inmigrantes que van a ser impactados por esta decisión que tomó el Estado de decir que quieren hacer un mapa diferente. Sabemos que este mapa lo único que está haciendo es quitándole la oportunidad a nuestras comunidades de tener una voz. Sabemos que hasta ahora, cuando queremos ir a hablar con una persona que nos representa, muchas veces si no encontramos a alguien que nos escuche. Pero con las personas que están detrás de mí sí lo hemos encontrado. Nos escuchan y pelean por una agenda que es mucho más justa para nuestra comunidad. Así que vamos a pelear, vamos a seguir peleando para asegurar que no perdamos esa voz, ese voto que nos cuesta tanto recibir en este país. Así que muchas gracias a todos por estar aquí, muchas gracias a todos los representantes por esta pelea. Me inspira y nos inspira a todos nosotros para seguir adelante en la pelea. Muchas gracias. And I am bringing in, and I am really honored to bring Representative Chris Turner from North Texas to be the next speaker. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Elsa. We are so grateful for the support and the partnership of our friends at Texas SEIU and the Texas AFL-CIO. Thank you all so much for your support throughout this endeavor. And, you know, it is an honor for me and for all of us, I think, that we are here talking to you today in this House of Labor in Chicago, Illinois. You know, labor in this country knows something about throwing a punch, knows something about fighting back, about resisting, about taking a stand even when it's tough and you're outnumbered and the odds are against you. And we in the Texas House Democratic Caucus have drawn inspiration from those pioneers in labor and what the battles for working men and women in our state and across this country over centuries, because that is what we're doing in resisting, in fighting back, in throwing a punch, in sending a message that we're not going to let you get away with this without a real fight. And that is what this effort has been about. And it has produced results. We have created a national conversation, national outrage about what is happening in Texas at the behest of a corrupt president and his DC billionaire insiders. That's what's happening. For those of us in Texas, it's about our constituents. It's about congressional districts where Black and Hispanic and Asian Texans have repeatedly demonstrated their ability to elect a member of Congress who represents their values and who will advocate for our communities in our nation's capital. And that's what's at risk, and that's why we're fighting so hard, because we've come too far to in making some degree of progress, not enough, but some degree of progress to see that minority communities in Texas have some level of fair representation in Washington. And we're not going to let Trump and Abbott rip it away without a hell of a fight. And a lot of the pundits I know like to break this down as just Democrats and Republicans fighting, just typical partisan stuff. That's not what this is. You know, think about my district. I represent Arlington and Grand Prairie, which is right in between Dallas and Fort Worth, to give you a frame of reference. The people in my district, they are working Texans, working Americans. They're building trucks at General Motors plant in Arlington. They're building the F-35 at Lockheed Martin in Fort Worth to keep our nation safe. They're handling bags at DFW Airport, which is the economic engine of our region. They're teaching our kids in our public schools. They're caring for our fellow Texans in our hospitals and in other healthcare settings. They're building our homes, our office buildings, our roads. And why don't they get to have a voice? Why don't they get to have a chance to decide who they want to represent them in the U.S. Congress? So we're here for them. We're fighting for them. And we're so glad to be in this fight with our friends at SEIU and the AFL-CIO. And next, I want to bring up Erica Bland Durosimi. He's the Executive Vice President of SEIU for Healthcare in Illinois, Indiana, Missouri, and Kansas.
Good morning. It's a mouthful. My name is Erica Bland, and I am the Executive Vice President of SEIU Healthcare, Illinois, Indiana, Missouri, and Kansas. And I proudly stand here today representing 90,000 frontline workers in those 4 states in solidarity with you all and say thank you. For the work that you have done, I say thank you. We know of what a union is about. It is about democracy and workers having the right to have a voice on the job. And that is no different than what this fight is about. It is about democracy and voters having a right to have a voice in the democratic process that governs their lives. And in this very moment, that is what is under attack. As union members, we know that bosses are a lot like the billionaires that align with Donald Trump. They want to use the power that they have and the money and the resources that they have to take more from working class people. And we say, not on our watch. You know the union saying, when we fight, we win. We're fighting right now, and we are going to win. Yeah. So now, Republicans in Texas, the same folks who were happy to be a part of passing the big, ugly bill and stealing health care from 17 million people and funding attacks on immigrant families, are trying to steal people's right to have a voice. They're doing it because they know that the reckoning is coming very soon in the midterm elections, and they don't want to face the consequences of what they've done in this bill. But fortunately, there are plenty of people who are willing to stand up and say, we're not going to do this. They're going to take bold action as they have been, and what we say is one day longer and one day stronger. So they are going to continue to stay out to make sure that workers have a voice and to make sure that this process is respected. Every generation has a fight that they face, and this one is no different. This is our fight, and we're in it to make sure that united workers and labor and electeds make sure that working families, no matter where they live in this country, have a right in this democratic process to be able to vote, to be able to have someone who represents them from their district and not have a diluted and gerrymandered district. Yes. On behalf of my members, I say thank you for the fight, for staying strong. We are here to support you in whatever way you need to make sure that we can continue to have the safety net that we have, continue to have the programs that support and uplift working families. We are very clear about what happened with the big bill, and what they want to do is finish the job, and we are not going to let them finish that job. So this is what John Lewis called getting in good trouble. We are about getting in good trouble, and we are going to do everything that we can to make sure that the voices of working class families are represented. Thank you. Yes. Oh. And now I am going to introduce Representative Gina Hinojosa from Austin. Thank you.
Okay. Hello, good afternoon. I'm State Representative Gina Hinojosa, and I represent Central Austin in the Texas House. I am also a proud member of CWA Local 6186, and I want to, thank you. I want to thank our labor brothers and sisters for standing in solidarity with us in this fight. This is a fight that labor knows well because it is a fight for power, which is the only fight that ever matters. Because power is not just an ideal, power is access to a good job with family supporting wages. Power is a quality education for your kids so that they might have a chance to thrive. Power is access to life-saving health care. Power is literally the difference between life and death. It is why we exist as a country. It is why we overthrew a monarchy, because our founders understood that having the power over our own lives and our future was essential to our basic human rights. And in America, we loan the power to the politicians to do good things for us, but when they start to use that power to hurt us, we reserve the right to take it back.
Yeah, there we go.
And that's what this fight is about. That's what this quorum break is about. That's what these congressional maps are about. Because as you have heard from previous speakers, Donald Trump knows that the big, ugly bill is not popular with Americans. It hurts Americans. The list of all the pain goes on, and it is done to give literal tax breaks on private jets, literally on private jets, to the billionaires at our expense. So these are the stakes. The stakes are about who has power, and Republicans know the stakes all too well, and that is why they have called in the FBI to hunt us down. That's why they're trying to remove me and 12 of my colleagues. That's why they're trying to fix these maps to predetermine the outcome of the 2026 elections in favor of a Republican majority, so you can't hold them accountable. But so here's the thing. Now, as they say, they have shown their ass for the whole world to see. And the whole world has seen what it looks like to stand up to a bully. When all across this country, institution after institution has bended the knee to Donald Trump, we will not.
That's right.
If Harvard will not stand up to Donald Trump, Texans will.
Okay.
So this is more than a fight about a bill in Texas now. This fight has been a gift because in some ways it is a wake-up call. It is a call to action, not just to Democrats, not just to Texans, but to all freedom-loving Americans. And listen, we are proud and honored to have led this fight. But this is not about us. This is about you. And are you going to do what it takes to fight for the power that we need to protect ourselves and our families? California is doing it. California is moving heaven and earth to fight fire with fire, to hold Trump accountable, to hold Congress accountable. And that's the kind of determination, those are the kind of guts we need in this fight. And it is the kind of fight I think Americans are ready for. So again, I just want to thank my brothers and sisters in labor and all of our allies who have stood with us in this fight. This is a winning team that you see here today because this is Team America. Thank you. And next, I'd like to introduce our Mexican American Legislative Caucus Chairman, Ramon Romero.
Thank you, Gina, and thank you to all of you, Labor, for having us here in this beautiful space. I am Ramon Romero, Chairman of the Mexican American Legislative Caucus, the largest and oldest Latino caucus in the country. I want to say, and make sure there's no mistake, these maps aim to punish black and brown voters. They aim to punish the people that actually are 90% of the growth in the state of Texas. They aim to punish us because we elect the representatives that we believe in, and what they are doing right now is saying, if you don't, well, we should say, this is the land of the free, not the land of agree with me. And if you don't agree with me, I will change the people that represent you and I will remove them from office. I will not be fooled, and as a Latino would say, no voy a dejar que nos laven el coco. When they say, I'm going to give you 5 more Latino seats, we have more than 5 Latino seats. Don't give me something that I already have. We've heard a lot about fighting today, and we know that everyone here behind me and everyone that's ever stepped foot in this place or ever has been a part of labor knows what it means to put up a fight. But what we need to acknowledge and understand is that they are putting up a fight as well. What are they fighting for? They're fighting a way to take food away from hungry families and children. They are fighting to take away our health care and Medicaid and taking people off of the Affordable Care Act. They are fighting to take away the American dream from all of our dreamers that only wish to live a life, a quality life which we all deserve by taking away our education. And they're fighting to give tax breaks to their billionaire friends, all at the cost of working class families. So yeah, I'm glad to be on this fight. I'm honored to be in this fight with my friends and colleagues, and I'm honored to be in this fight with SEIU Texas, AFL-CIO, and with the Central Federation, or the Chicago Federation of Labor. Make no mistake, this quorum break has been at great expense to every single one of us individually, to our families, and even to our pocketbooks. But I will say that it is a small price to pay for what we know is the moment in time which we should all be a part of. And why? Because it's worth it. Because Texas is worth it. Because America is worth it. And because democracy is worth it. Because America deserves better. Labor has fought for countless years to guarantee basic rights, basic wages, human rights, dignity for working class Americans. And I'll be damned, along with my friends, if we're just going to roll over, as we've seen so many people in D.C. roll over to President Trump's agenda, and now even in the governor's mansion of Texas. So, again, this is the land of the free. And we're going to make sure that all America joins us in this fight. This march continues. America, it's your fight. It's a fight for freedom. It's a fight for democracy, and it's a fight for justice. Thank you all. I want to introduce my colleague, Lauren Ashley Simmons.
Hey, y'all. Hey. I'm Representative Lauren Ashley Simmons. I am the founder and chairwoman of the Labor and Workforce Caucus in the Texas Legislature. Yeah. I'm a union woman. I'm not in this space. I'm not Representative Lauren Ashley Simmons without labor. I began my career as a union organizer with the State Employees Union, the Texas State Employees Union. From there, I worked with teachers, organizing teachers for almost 5 years. I've organized domestic workers, retail workers, and I have never felt more powerful than when I'm standing alongside people who have everything to lose, but know that they have so much more to gain by standing up. As a Black woman, I am a descendant of people who didn't receive a fair wage for a day's work. And this country was built off of their backs. And today, I still organize in Black migrant communities, many of whom are undocumented, who work to continue to build this country without any representation. We are here in a moment. We are standing here in the fight. And we could not do this without the labor movement, who has already fought so much. I get chills being in Chicago because if you know anything about Texas organizers, this is the Mecca for us. We talk extensively about what they do in Chicago. I remember I used to go in the cafeteria and lounge and organize teachers and be like, don't y'all want to be like Chicago? Don't y'all want to strike? Because it means something to see people, regular working people, stand up to their bosses in the same way that we're doing now. The fight looks a little bit different for a lot of my colleagues because many of these people fight tooth and nail from inside of the Capitol to ensure that workers have access to the things they need. We filed bill after bill after bill to raise minimum wage, to expand health care, to extend collective bargaining rights to public employees, and those bills go nowhere. And so we didn't run from Texas. We haven't fled anything. We are bringing the fight directly to the people, and it looks a little bit different that way. It's not a bill that we're sending through to Ledge Council to look over. It's us talking directly to you saying, we have to stand up. We have to do this together. We have to be better than the people who seek to hold us back. We have already lost ground, but we will gain so much more as we continue this fight. We have to stand up to the bully in the White House. And if you know anything about labor, we good at standing up to bullies. It's what fuels us. It's what drives us. And the people united can never be divided. Let's do it again. I like that. The people united can never be divided. Black and brown workers are the heart and soul of the labor movement, and they are the primary targets in this racist redistricting scheme. It's not just about the workers in Texas, but across the nation. The big bad bill is going to push our people further into the margins, and we cannot let up. We have to continue to fight to ensure that Trump does not get another shot at our people.
That's right.
For too long, the American dream has been out of reach because billionaires and party bosses in D.C. are hell-bent on getting us as close to slavery as possible. It's not lost on me the moment that we're in. We are in the fight of our lives. But as we always say in the labor movement, the idea of fair pay for a fair day's work should be extended to everyone. Because when we can afford to pay our rent and our mortgage, and we have access to health care, and our children's schools are fully funded, we can be active participants in our democracy.
That's right.
When Ben Franklin was asked, what do we have ourselves here, he responded, it's a republic if you can keep it. What he meant by that is that democracy takes work. It's an experiment. It's not something that happens on its own. Like my colleague said, you lend the power to elected officials, but that doesn't mean that your job is done. It's more than just registering to vote and hitting a button on the ballot box. We have to stand up together for our communities, for our people. I appreciate the welcome that we've received in Illinois, and I appreciate so much the Chicago Federation of Labor for standing with Texans. And right now, we are showing you, and we are the true definition of solidarity forever. Thank you. Okay, and I'm sorry, I want to bring up the president of the Chicago Federation of Labor, Bob Ryder. Oops, I'm sorry.
So my name is Bob Ryder. I am president of the Chicago Federation of Labor. The CFL represents 300 unions that in turn represent 500,000 working people right here in the hometown of the American labor movement, Chicago, Illinois. And I am here to tell you that labor is strong in Illinois and labor is strong in Texas. And like our friends here today, folks like Donald Trump, Stephen Miller, and Greg Abbott see labor as a threat to their agenda to disenfranchise American communities, and we're not having any of it. You know, I want to thank the Democrats from Texas for a whole number of things. One, I want to thank them for the conversations that we've had with them and that they're having all across this state and all across the country, and including their constituents in Texas, about why this redistricting issue is so important to protect and, you know, if we're going to do anything, draw maps in a way that enfranchises communities in Texas instead of what the Republican caucus wants to do and disenfranchise Texas voters. In fact, if you were to look at Texas and their in their districts, both in the Texas House and in their congressional districts, we're looking at going the other direction from what Texas Republicans want to do. And I think that as one of our folks from the House caucus said, they really are showing their ass. I always thought I'd be the first person to say that to a TV camera in this room. But seriously, you know, I have a background in political science, right? And you know, the structures and the purpose of government that I learned in my graduate studies when I went to law school really are on display in what's happening right now in Texas. This is pure partisanship that's happening from the very top of our country. And let's not forget what Donald Trump's doing. I know that when we say things like this, the most vitriolic and virulent supporters of Donald Trump say, oh, they're just being ridiculous in what they're saying. They try to scuttle all the alarms that we'd set off. Donald Trump is telling us every day that he wants to be king. It's not an overreaction. It's not being hysterical. He is telling you that he wants to consolidate power and take out the folks who stood up against him last time around. Instead of looking for a way to unify Congress, to work with other people, he's driving the polarization of this country into a deeper divide. And by doing that, we have to fight back. We're very good about fighting back. And it's good to see that folks in Texas want to fight back, just like we like to fight back here in the state of Illinois. You see, nothing's given to you without standing up for yourself. You know, we own our history. We're not gonna rewrite it or hide it. We fought against monarchies and oligarchies before. That's how this country was founded. And we've fought for racial and economic justice. That's what the civil rights movement was about. And when we look at our country's history, we take it with all of its curves and up and down and peaks and valleys. And Donald Trump wants to whitewash American history and restore power into modern day robber barons. Well, this fight that the Texas Democrats have taken up in protecting maps, the fight that they've taken up to stand against arbitrarily and capriciously changing legislative maps in the middle of a decade, this is important. And hopefully what they're doing will be a lesson in U.S. or American government courses, in our schools, in our colleges, and our universities, that we stand up for what this country's principles were about and show that the patriots are the people here. These are the patriots. And if Donald Trump expects any of us to come to heel, I will tell you, this dog right here fights. And I'd like to bring back up the president of the Texas AFL-CIO, Rick Levy.
Thank you, President Ryder. And again, thank you so much to you and your staff and all the folks who have made us feel so welcome here in Chicago. Patriots is, I think, a really good word to bring up. Because to close, I just want to put this in context for what's happening here. You all ran for office because you wanted to accomplish something for the people you represent. And like my sister said, sometimes that means you file a bill. Sometimes that means you ask questions at a committee. Sometimes that means you try and raise money for something in your district that's important to people. That's what you ran for office for. But sometimes history has other ideas. And I just want to go back to 2020, when Donald Trump lost the election the first time. And at that time, he called the Secretary of State of Georgia. And he said, I need 11,000 votes. And luckily, the Secretary of State of Georgia, despite being a Republican, said, no, that's a bridge too far, that we have rules. This time, he called up his friend Greg Abbott, and he said, I need 5 more seats. Literally, that is what this is about. I need 5 more seats so I don't have to face the accountability of the voters in 2026. And you all said no. You all said, hell no. And I just want to point out the patriotism of that, because I know what you have each put on the line to be here. And people can say what they want. You all have put it all out on the line. Not for yourselves, because you're not going to get anything out of this, no offense, but for your communities and for your country, that you all answered that call. And when you answer that call, the labor movement answers that call with you. Not just the labor movement in Texas, the labor movement in Illinois, the labor movement in California, the labor movement in Florida, the labor movement across this country. Because what's at stake is not political lines. What's at stake is the future of our democracy and our ability to have the kind of lives that we all dream of living for ourselves and for our families. So thank you. We are with you. We appreciate you. And that concludes our press conference. And if folks want to have conversations with folks, we'll be around and happy to have any conversations that we want. So thank you. Can we give a hand to y'all for one more time?
When we fight, we win. 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 There we go.
We're going to take a picture. Everybody get over here. We got to take a picture.
Any Q&A? One,
We'll have private Q&A here. Huh?
1, 2, 3, smile.
Paris, what's up? What's happening?
But I think people are going to want to do it.
They have lunch for y'all back
Greg's on his way. Okay. Oh, no, thank you guys. Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, you got to hold media. I did my job.
He's like, are they still there? I'm like, where are you? Oh, okay. Well, that's not I had someone. Well, you're never divided. Oh, no problem.
I love it. I wish my so we have
Those are our interview, right?
elected officials. Yeah, Chicago.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, it'd be nice. You and Rep. Ramon can be here and we can be on either side of
We'll put Nicole in the middle. Oh, we got a minute.
It's a good idea. Glad you thought of that. And it's a beautiful representation of all
Yeah, I should love the
people.
background, too.
Yeah.
They're all senators.
I'm trying to set up a mosque visit, but whoever can come can come. Maybe 3-4 people. That's okay.
Yeah, that's good. You take the center spot.
Who, me? Because I got the union shirt on?
Or 2 people can take a sense.
I want you to be the focal point of the picture.
No, because I didn't get to speak.
But I think it's a really beautiful representation of,
It is.
of gender, races,
Yes.
religion, all that.
It is. That's true. That is true. It is very diverse. It actually represents America and Texas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think any other part of North Texas
You're right.
has that, right?
I don't know.
There are no Asian Americans.
Right?
I'm thinking like Native American. I don't know if there's any.
I mean, Angie in Dallas, but
Oh, Angie knows, yeah.
She not with
other
us.
party.
Yeah.
She not with us. I love that. Does it say anything on the front of there?
It says Texas first, I think. Put Texas first.
Okay.
Which is good, yeah.
Yeah, it's perfect.
That is good. This was really good. I'm glad I came. Yeah.
That's good.
I'm trying to organize a mosque trip tomorrow.
Okay.
That's new?
We got the whole new setup. It was pretty rickety. How did you even get here?
second. I gotta do my Thursday night checks anyway for next week.
Yeah, look forward to that.
I know, and he's like, yes, I know, John. Give it to me. First thing Friday. Got a plan, you know? I came right from the Montoya era hearing, right here. That one was on for a long time. Ferreira and Montoya.
Oh, you went to that one?
Yeah.
How did it go?
I'm glad I went. They dismissed all charges against Montoya. But I asked Carrie, but she didn't know, of course, right away if they're going to refile.
Was that for any reason why was it just?
Because, frankly, she wasn't able to provide any independent evidence, or I guess compelling independent evidence that Montoya was the passenger. Everything was kind of based on Hera. Although Hera was held.
You know, I always thought like, oh, but then there's some preservation, and like, you gotta get your money, and I have to get that, I have to get somewhere, and so like, as much as I intend to do it, like, it's like twisting it around to get it done, like, I was a little took myself. I know, but right, here we are. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Is the determination done? Are you announcing determination today?
No, that's still a ways away.
Oh, okay.
I think that usually takes weeks.
A lot goes into that.
Yeah, it's not very.
I don't know. You got the other one out in May, and it was in April.
Well, that was it takes about 4 to 5 weeks.
Okay.
I guess
It
it's
was like last week.
Oh, was it last week?
Yeah, maybe 10 days ago.
No, it was longer than that.
August 2nd.
August
Was it?
2nd.
Alright, so it's 12 days ago.
Okay.
Still under 2 weeks.
All right, you win.
I thought I just wanted to get you back for you being right about where to put that mic. That's it.
Okay, but I think that is more important.
It is,
On
it
where
is.
to put the mic and how many days till it's over. By the way, how dumb do you have to be to rob some place and come point it?
Yeah, just go lay low. Just go lay low for today. What are you doing?
How dumb do you have
You
to
already
be?
dodged one bullet.
I mean, really, are you feeling that confident?
That's the thing, man. Also, he had warrants.
Yeah, but I mean, you've had those warrants for a while.
Yeah.
So,
Well, they,
you know, and
enforce it in every single day.
I don't know why Bristol Township didn't go over and get him the day they filed that other warrant. Because that just sounds like a crazy.
Oh, with the ag assault and everything? The car accident?
Yeah, that just sounds
Crazy.
freaking crazy, you know? I'm gonna cause a car accident to get out and bash your windshields and, you know, like, that seems like a reason that you might want to send your officers. Pretty quick. Oh no, maybe it's me. Oh, well. What do I know?
Whatever, you're drunk and you're trying to hit on people, just go to bed. So, 6:37 o'clock.
I'm reading the probable cause and I'm going, oh, and I'm like, thank God I read the whole thing because I'm like, they buried the lead. Wait a minute, what? He was put it for a car? He was put it for armed robbery? Like, what the hell?
Right? Yeah. Makes it a little sensational, doesn't it?
Well, yeah. I mean, a guy robs a cell phone store like an hour before he decides to act like an asshole on the road and point a gun at someone.
I don't know how people get involved in road situations.
Oh, I do. I'm waiting for my day where someone's going to pull a gun on me.
I just assume everybody is a big loose cannon, and I don't ever mess with anybody on the road.
Like, you know, there's going to be that one case, I don't think I've covered it yet, but there's going to be it, where some idiot pulls a gun, like in a road rage, or somebody pulls a gun, and then the other guy pulls a gun too. That's going to happen. That will happen.
It's good for me.
Perfect timing.
Yes.
Jen's looking all tan.
Yeah, if you want to stand. Okay, yep. Sure. Give a minute, just a couple other.
Sorry, I'm just gonna, I'll get it butt in a little bit, so.
Okay. Good. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Bucks County District Attorney Jennifer Shorn. To my left is Chief Gregory Beidler of the Bucks County District Attorney's Office. To his right is Chief Deputy District Attorney, Megan Hunziker. To her right is Director of Public Safety, Chief William McVeigh. To his right is Deputy Director of Public Safety of the Bensalem Township Police Department, Robert Race. To his right is Lieutenant Michael Shum of the Bensalem Police Department. And to his right is Detective Kelsey Pitts of the Bucks County District Attorney's Office. And finally, Detective William Mooney of the Bucks County District Attorney's Office. I'm here today to report that charges were filed against 44-year-old John Thomas Mathis of Levittown as it relates to allegations that stem from events that occurred on August 2nd of 2025. As I'm sure you recall, having reported on this issue, on that date at approximately 5:43 in the evening hours, 5:43 p.m., a 911 call was placed by a motorist who was driving in his Acura sedan on Bristol Pike. He was driving with his girlfriend as a passenger in his vehicle when an individual driving aggressively on a multicolored motorcycle was following them and engaging in aggressive driving behavior, which, by the way, was completely unprovoked. At some point during this encounter, the driver of the motorcycle pulled up to the driver's side window of the vehicle and pointed a gun directly at the driver's head and indicated that he was going to shoot him, and then made a statement to the effect of, "I should rob you" as well. Obviously, at that point, the motorist and his girlfriend placed a call to 911 and described what they were encountering. They also attempted to evade this aggressive motorcyclist by driving through the intersection to get away safely. The information was dispatched and Bensalem officers responded. The officer who initially responded to the location caught up to both vehicles, the motorcyclist and the driver and his passenger in the Acura sedan. The officer noted that the motorcyclist was directly behind the victim vehicle and was heroic in his efforts in that he positioned his patrol vehicle in between the motorcyclist and the victim vehicle so as to shield them from harm. At that point in time, it appears that the driver, the motorcyclist, attempted to accelerate to escape. However, he collided into the side of the patrol vehicle, fell off his bike, dumped the bike, and then attempted to flee on foot. But of note and most concerning is that he was clearly in possession with the firearm displayed in his right hand. He had a cell phone in his left hand, and in fact had an overhand grip of the firearm with the muzzle pointed in the direction of the officer. He was also running on foot towards oncoming traffic in the opposite lane. This neighborhood is a combination of residential homes, obviously, and commercial establishments. And it was a beautiful summer evening. When the officer saw the motorcyclist with the gun in his hand after having heard the detailed dispatch, he made direct commands for the motorist to stop, the motorcyclist to stop. However, instead, the motorcyclist continued to flee with the muzzle, as mentioned. He turned his head toward the officer and the muzzle pointed in the direction of the officer. At that point in time, the officer had no choice but to fire 3 shots to make sure to eliminate the threat that this person posed. Ultimately, immediately thereafter, Bensalem officers who responded, backing up the initial officer, rendered aid to the motorcyclist. They ultimately identified him, as mentioned, as John Thomas Mathis from Levittown, 44 years of age. He was taken to Jefferson Torresdale and treated for his injuries. However, what was also concerning, after interviews were conducted of the victims, evidence was collected at the scene by the Bucks County District Attorney's Office county detectives. Some of the evidence was very pertinent in that there was close to $1,000 in U.S. cash, U.S. currency, and there was a black mask and clothing that was unique in that shortly after these events unfolded, our office received communication from Philadelphia Northeast detectives indicating that an individual matching the description of our actor just held up a clerk at a Metro T-Mobile store at gunpoint, having made off with close to $1,000 in cash. And it was less than an hour before the events that occurred in Bucks County. Obviously, these facts are quite concerning in that this individual terrorized a clerk at a cell phone store and then terrorized 2 individuals just randomly driving on a Saturday evening in the summer, putting all of them in fear for their life, not to mention putting the officer in fear for his life and the lives of others. Incidentally, when the identification of the motorcyclist occurred, it was immediately learned that he was an individual who should have never been out in the community. It was learned that he was in fact awaiting prosecution for an aggravated assault while DUI, meaning allegations related to causing serious bodily injury to a victim when he was under the influence of the controlled substance methamphetamine. Not only that, he had 2 open state parole violation matters, and he additionally had 2 sentencing matters for felonies, one involving a burglary of a cell phone store and another involving a felony escape and I believe